People called him Pedrinho Matador and Lil Petey Killer. The media was chomping at the bit for a little piece of his story and ate up every crumb. It was a juicy tale of a young guy standing up to the bad guys. But Pedro wasn't all about violence. He had a soft side too. He fell for a girl named Maria. Pedro called her Botinha. They were inseparable, a couple against the world. It felt like he'd finally found something real, something to hold on to. Then Botinha got pregnant. They were over the moon. But happiness never lasts. A rival gang leader, looking for revenge, balanced the scales and savagely killed Botinha. Just like that, she was gone. Just like when Dexter's mother was brutally killed in front of his very eyes. In that moment, Pedro changed forever. Grief and anger consumed Pedro after Botinha's murder, and that turned him into a relentless force. He vowed to find every single person involved in her death and to make them pay, like a villain for justice, a hero seeking revenge, for ripping the woman he loved from his arms, and he would stop for nothing and no one, tearing apart anyone who got in his way. One by one, Pedro hunted down every member of the gang. Not just a couple of them, every last one. He tortured them, killed them, and didn't stop until the gang was completely wiped out. His thirst for revenge was satisfied. But just like with Dexter, there was something inside of him, a need to kill, a darkness. Pedro soon faced another devastating loss. His father, the man whose actions had fueled Pedro's dark path, brutally murdered Pedro's mother with a machete. It was a sickening tragedy. And for Pedro, it wasn't just personal. He had to act. At this point, Pedro was already a seasoned killer and was serving time for a litany of murders. But that didn't deter him. He vowed to wreak a vengeful havoc, beginning with a chilling promise at his mother's funeral. And Pedro was not a man to break a vow. Being in prison didn't stop Pedro either, because after his father murdered his mother, he was incarcerated in the very same prison. Pedro devised a calculated, vindictive, and bloodthirsty plan. At just the right moment, he stalked into his father's cell and unleashed a savage attack, stabbing him repeatedly, 22 times in fact. In a final act of twisted defiance, Pedro ripped out his father's heart and took a generous bite. Later describing his actions, Pedro said he spat out the chewed heart back onto his father's lifeless body. For many, this would be the end of the story, a tale of unimaginable brutality.